question on, let's go to YouTube. YouTube's got a question here. If no one has seen God, Lucas asks, how did Moses see? What? Let's see. How did Moses see mercy in his eyes? Oh, okay. Well, I don't know that that's the right phrase of what Moses saw. Moses saw his glory retreating as God put him in the cleft of the rock. Whatever he saw was a physical, visual manifestation of the greatness of God. And I think because it says in 1 Timothy chapter 6 that God dwells in unapproachable light, right? This God that no one has seen or can see. Moses can't see God, and that was how God first responds to Moses. Right? You can't see me. You can't take in the greatness of who I am. You can't, with your fallen senses. Right? You can't do that. And so he wants to see the glory of God. And so whatever that means in Moses' mind as he's asking the question, God says, great, I'll put you here and I'll pass by. You can see my back, so to speak. You can see, even though God doesn't have a spine or a back or back muscles, and he wasn't wearing a robe. Right? He's a spirit. But the greatness and majesty of God, whatever he saw something that's not described other than this glory that's retreating. And the only other passage you might be thinking of, Lucas, is the passage where it speaks of Moses connecting with God, God is defending Moses. I speak to him as a man would speak with his friend face to face. Well, God doesn't have a face. Moses has a face. But even in the New Testament, in 2 Corinthians 4, when it talks about Moses going up the mountain, his face was shining. That's why I think whatever he saw was something that was like radiant, something shiny, something light. It's like Jesus in the Mount of Transfiguration, as it's described. I think in Mark, he uses the phrase that's used by launderers. His clothes were whiter than any launderer could make them. So something about the visual light. And think about it before the days of electricity, which all this, of course, is happening in, when you don't have incandescent lights, LED lights, or floodlights, or spotlights, right? To have God say, you want to see my greatness? I want to show you something you've never seen before. Something here on this dreary day. I'm going to shine something bright like the sun right now on earth. I mean, that was just unseen. I mean, no one had seen something like that before. It's certainly not the totality of God's greatness. And I even think the idea of the glory of God in the temple, or first in the tabernacle, was some kind of radiance, as it's described, that when God's glory rested, let's go to Solomon's day, when he built the temple and the glory of God settled in on the temple. It was probably something visual, a lot like the fire that led the people of Israel through their 40-year wandering in the wilderness. So, yeah, if I got your question right, Lucas, if not, write me back. But that is what he saw. No one's ever seen God. You're right. God, he did not see God. He did not see God in his totality. He did not see God's completeness. God is not affected by photons. Photons aren't going to bounce off of him and go into my eyes. God had to create some visual representation of something that would communicate to Moses in his eyes greatness, something spectacular. And so he saw something spectacular, and that's the best we can do in putting these ideas together.